Welcome to Avengers Doomsday. This is a fan-made story created with passion and excitement for Marvel fans. While this is not an official Marvel Studios script, it is an exciting take on what an Avengers Doomsday movie could be like. Marvel Studios has officially announced a movie with this title, set to release on May 1st, 2026, but the plot of that movie is still unknown. This story is purely for entertainment and learning purposes, helping fans enjoy an epic Avengers adventure while also improving their English skills. So sit back, enjoy the action, and imagine what might happen if the Avengers faced their greatest challenge yet. Stay engaged, because the twists and turns in this story will keep you hooked till the very end. And if you love Marvel, you're in the right place. Dark clouds had gathered over Latveria, lightning flashing across the sky. Inside his fortress, Dr. Doom had stood before an ancient machine, its core glowing with an eerie blue light. He had known that the universe had been fragile, that time itself had been bending, and he had been ready to seize control. As he had placed his armored hand over the device, he had whispered that the world would soon kneel before him. Meanwhile, in New York, Sam Wilson had been monitoring global disturbances. Unusual energy signatures had been detected, their source unknown. As he had studied the data, a message had arrived from Wakanda. Shuri had sent footage, an explosion near the borders, unlike anything seen before. Before Sam could react, Doctor Strange had entered the room, his expression grim. He had warned that reality itself was in danger and that Doom had been responsible. The Avengers had gathered, their expressions serious. Thor had been the first to ask what Doom had been planning. Strange had explained that Doom had been tampering with forbidden magic, attempting to rewrite existence. Spider-Man had asked if Kang had been involved, and Strange had hesitated before nodding. The multiverse had been breaking, and Doom had been standing at the center of it all. They had needed to act fast, before it had been too late. Nick Fury had wasted no time. He had summoned the remaining Avengers, instructing them to prepare for battle. Captain Marvel had arrived from deep space, reporting unusual distortions near the Kree Empire. Ant-Man had mentioned strange time anomalies appearing in San Francisco. Every hero had known that something massive had been unfolding. Reed Richards had been studying Doom's actions for months. He had explained that Doom had discovered an artifact known as the Chrono Core, an object capable of reshaping time. If activated, it could erase past events, rewriting history as Doom had desired. Black Panther had asked how they could stop it, and Reed had admitted that only one thing could prevent its activation: destroying Doom's power source before he could use it. The Avengers had decided to act. Splitting into teams, they had planned to strike Doom's strongholds across the world. Strange had been tasked with securing the Sanctum Sanctorum, where magical disturbances had been growing. Thor and Hulk had prepared to travel to Latveria, aiming to face Doom directly. As they had set out, Captain America had reminded them all of one thing: no matter the cost, Doom could not be allowed to win. The first attack had taken place in Wakanda. Doom's forces had arrived in massive warships, blasting through the city's defenses. Shuri and her warriors had fought bravely, using advanced technology to hold back the invasion. The Avengers had arrived just in time, landing in the heart of the battlefield. Thor had summoned a storm, striking enemy ships with lightning. Black Panther had led his army into battle, taking down Doom's soldiers one by one. Spider-Man had swung across the battlefield, using his webbing to disarm enemies. But despite their efforts, Doom's forces had been overwhelming. Strange had sensed dark energy in the air. Doom had been controlling the battle from afar. Then Doom himself had appeared, With a wave of his hand, he had knocked back Thor, sending him crashing into a wall. He had laughed, telling them that they had been too late. The chrono core had already been activated. As the sky had turned dark, the Avengers had realized the horrifying truth. Doom had begun rewriting time. Reality had started shifting. Strange had sensed distortions all around them, as if the world itself had been changing. He had cast a spell, shielding the Avengers from the worst effects. But history had already begun to alter. Cities had flickered, past events rewriting themselves. Captain America had realized that they had needed to escape before they had been erased. He had instructed Strange to open a portal, leading them to a safe location. As they had stepped through, they had seen glimpses of what Doom had been doing, heroes fading from existence, battles that had never happened, a future where Doom had ruled. They had arrived in a hidden sanctuary outside of time. There, they had found an old ally, Loki. The trickster had smiled, explaining that he had been expecting them. He had revealed that Doom had not been the only one tampering with time. Someone else had been watching, someone even worse. Loki had shown them what Doom had been creating. In this rewritten future, he had declared himself Emperor of Time, ruling over all realities. The Avengers had never existed in this timeline, only Doom and his empire. Reed Richards had realized that the only way to stop him had been to undo the activation of the chrono core. But doing so had meant traveling into Doom's stronghold, a place no one had escaped from. Ant-Man had suggested using the quantum realm to bypass Doom's defenses, but Strange had warned that the path had been unstable. Despite the risks, they had decided to move forward. As they had prepared, Thor had gripped his hammer, whispering that no god could rule time itself. They had stepped into the portal, ready for the greatest battle of their lives. The team had arrived in Doom's capital. The once grand city had been twisted into a nightmarish fortress, surrounded by endless guards. They had moved silently, using cloaking spells and stealth technology to advance undetected. Loki had guided them through hidden tunnels, explaining that Doom had been expecting an attack. Strange had sensed powerful wards blocking their magic. As they had neared the chrono core chamber, alarms had blared. Their presence had been discovered. Doom had appeared on a massive screen above them, his voice echoing through the halls. He had welcomed them, calling them the last remnants of a lost world. He had offered them a choice: serve him in his new empire or be erased from history forever. The Avengers had chosen to fight. Thor had thrown his hammer, shattering the screen. Captain America had led the charge, his shield deflecting blasts from Doom's guards. Black Panther had moved swiftly, disabling security systems. Doom had arrived in person, floating above them. He had raised his hand, unleashing waves of energy. Strange had countered with his magic, while Iron Man had fired repulsor blasts. The battle had been fierce, every hero pushing themselves to their limit. Then Reed Richards had reached the core. With a single command, he had activated a fail-safe, a weakness Doom had never noticed. The chrono core had started to overload, its power spiraling out of control. Doom had screamed, realizing too late that his empire had been collapsing. The fortress had begun to crumble. The Avengers had rushed to escape as the chrono core had imploded. Doom had struggled, trying to regain control. Strange had cast one final spell, sealing Doom within the collapsing timeline. As the portal had closed, the world had started to reset. History had begun repairing itself, erasing Doom's influence. The heroes had watched as reality had stabilized, their memories intact but the future uncertain. Nick Fury had contacted them, confirming that the world had been safe again. But the Avengers had known that this had been only the beginning. Time had been fractured, and new threats had been waiting beyond the horizon.